Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's say in Excel we've got this and we just want to extract out the order number. We might look at this particular example and see that the order number is always 2 spaces after the first colon and ends with a comma. You might end up with a formula that looks like this. We're using a mid with nested finds, we're looking for colons, we're looking for commas, and we're doing a load of logistics to get to it. Worst thing of all, if that formatting moves slightly, then the formula breaks. Well, what if I told you there's a much simpler way? Now here's the exact same result, but using regex. You can see we've got a nice short formula that's simply looking at the cell and instantly pulling out the order number using \D+. Doesn't matter where that order number sits within that text string. We could add an X in after it, and you can see our first one's broke, it's included the X. This regex just continues to pull the number from that cell. And that's the power of regex. Much simpler formulas that actually match patterns rather than positions. No more fighting with lefts, mids, rights, lens, find, search. So within Excel, we've got 3 regex functions. We've got REGEXEXTRACT, REGEXTEST, and REGEXREPLACE. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to use all 3 to solve real-world problems, like extracting emails, detecting dates, and cleaning messy spaces. So what is regex? Regex stands for regular expressions. You can think of it like a find and replace on steroids. Instead of looking for exact words or positions, regex looks for patterns within the text string. For example, you can find anything that looks like an email address, find numbers within sentences, and replace multiple spaces with just one. And the good news, Excel 365 now directly supports regex. Let's take a look at REGEXEXTRACT as our first function. So we're going to start by typing regex, and then we can see we've got REGEXEXTRACT, REGEXREPLACE, and REGEXTEST. Just going to press tab on REGEXEXTRACT so that we've got that function. We're looking for a text, so our text is going to be this sample text that I've put in this cell. So I'm just going to click on that cell. I'm going to press comma to move into our pattern argument. The pattern we're going to look for here is we're going to find Bill. Then we've got 2 optional arguments within a REGEXEXTRACT, which is return mode and case sensitivity. The default behavior for return mode is to return your first match, which is good enough for this example. And the default behavior for case sensitivity is for the search to be case sensitive, which again is going to be fine in this example. So we'd have 0, 0. Those are the defaults, which means they're not actually needed. So I'm just going to get rid of them and press close brackets. We're going to press enter on that to commit the formula. You can see the result of that formula gives us Bill, so it's correctly found Bill within that string. Just to give you an example of the sensitivity with cases, if we put lowercase b, you can see Bill is a capital, and therefore we've got an error because it can't find the lowercase. If we were to go to the case sensitivity mode and turn case sensitivity off by pressing 1, then we correctly find uppercase Bill, even though we've looked for lowercase Bill. You might come across instances where you don't know the full text that you're looking for. So for example, this time we might be looking for Ben within here, but we might not actually know the last 2 characters, for example, or even the last character. So we could do REGEXTEXTRACT, point to our text, and then our pattern we might know begins with B, E, and then we might not know the rest of it, so we could put BE wildcard using a period, close our double quotes, close our parenthesis, press enter, and you can see just by that beginning and a wildcard we've managed to locate Ben within there. So that's how a wildcard works. If you cast your mind back to the optional arguments within REGEXEXTRACT, we've got return mode that we've not yet looked at. So let's just do a little example where we're going to look within that same text string. Our pattern, we're going to try and find these 3 names, Ben, Bob, and Bill. And we're just going to use the options that we've looked at so far. So our pattern is going to be double quotes, capital B, that's the common start of all 3. And then if we were to press the wildcard key and then close our double quotes, and at this time we're going to go to match mode 1, so we're going to press down to that, press tab to enter it, and then we're going to close our parenthesis on that. You can see now we've got a spilled horizontal array with the 3 results of capital B and then the subsequent E for Ben, O for Bob and I for Bill. We could expand on that by adding another 2 wildcard periods into there, and then we'd get the full names of Ben, Bob and Bill. So that's how the match case can help us to spill dynamic arrays where we've got multiple instances of matches. So the dot, which matches any character, was a character class. Now we're going to move on to what's known as quantifiers. If we were to look within this text string, which just simply says Google at the moment, we could use a REGEXEXTRACT, point into that cell, and our pattern using a quantifier of the asterisk key is going to let us search for 0 or more instances of the same letter. So if we were to type GO and then star, that would be saying we don't mind how many instances of O there are, but we want to get a return. So I'm just going to finish off typing Google, but with only the 1 O and a star. Close our double quotes, close our parenthesis, press enter, and then we still get Google, despite there being just the single O within our search. And then if we were to add some more O's into this, make it really long, you can see that that single O with an asterisk works for any length. So that's a good way to target the same word, but with any number of repeating characters. Another quantifier is the plus sign. So this time we've got a repeating set of strings, goals, goals, goals. We might just simply want to return goals once, because the rest is just repetition. So we'll use REGEXTEXTRACT, point to goals, 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 and our pattern this time is going to be goals, and we're going to put the plus sign there, and then we're going to close our double quotes, close our parenthesis, and we just get the single instance of goals without all that repetition in there. So that's how to deal with repetition. Another quantifier that we can use is the question mark, which allows for optional items. An example of this might be where we've got different spellings but of the same word. So American English, colour is spelt C-O-L-O-U-R. However, in British English, we'd spell it C-O-L-O-U-R. Both the same word, different spellings. How can we find those with our regex? I'm just going to leave this as one or the other for now, so we'll go with American English. We can start by doing a regex extract. We're going to look within this text. Our pattern this time is going to be C-O-L-U, and then because that U is optional, we're going to put the question mark after it, and then we're going to press R, close our quotes, close our parenthesis, and then if we commit that, we've got a match using American colour, and if we add into that the U for British colour, we still get a match because that question mark has allowed us to state that the U within that word is purely optional. So that's good with different spellings. Let's now have a look at a real world example. So we've got contact us at help@email.com or try support@email.com for support. So how can we get out the email help@email.com? We're going to have a look at another character class here. So earlier on where we used the period for wildcard, this time we're going to also include a character class for letters, numbers and underscores, and that's \W. So if we point to our text, our pattern is going to be double quotes again, \W, and then if we remember plus is 1 or more. So that little combination of \W plus is going to help us find letters, numbers or underscores, and 1 or more of these letters, numbers or underscores. So in our case, that will find help for us. We're then going to put the @ symbol, which just is literal for let's find out within that string. We're then going to try and get the word email. So we can use the same principle that we've used for help. We can do \W plus to return letters of 1 or more. And then to return the dot, we need to use \dot, which is literal for that. And then we need to find the word com. So we can use the same principle that we've used for help and email, which would be \W plus. Now if we close our double quotes on that, close our parenthesis, and if we press enter, you can see from that combination, we've managed to find that email address That email address can be any number of characters either side of the at or after the dot. So we've looked at a nice dynamic pattern matching exercise there with regex using character classes and quantifiers. REGEXTEST gives us a Boolean result of the pattern that we're looking for, so we get a nice true or false result. So before we're extracting out that pattern, we just want to know whether that pattern exists or doesn't exist, i.e. is it true, it's in there, or false, it's not. So if we were to do REGEXEXTRACT and look within this formula, I want to find out whether there's any hashtag words within that string. In our particular string, we've got hashtag Ben Jones Explains, so we should be getting a true result here. So if we were to look for double quotes, hash is just literal for that. And then we can use the principles we looked at earlier with \w for characters, numbers or underscores, plus for more than one, close our speech marks, close our double quotes, close our parenthesis. So that's how we would have seen things using REGEXEXTRACT. So let's just copy that and we're going to paste it into this cell. And instead of using the REGEXEXTRACT, we're going to go for REGEXTEST. So I'm just going to press the down arrow twice to that, press tab to commit, and similar to REGEXEXTRACT, we've got text, which will be where our text sits, the pattern we're looking for, and then we've got a case sensitivity argument. So we're going to leave our pattern as what we've just looked for, and this time instead of extracting the hashtag, we've got a Boolean result showing us true that we've managed to find it. So that's how we can test to see whether text strings contain the pattern we're looking for. Another character class that we didn't look at earlier is \d, so that allows us to work with digits. So we've got a text string here that says ordered on the 1st of December 2025. Now to test if there's a date within there, we could do equals REGEXTEST, look within this field, and we could look for double quotes \d, so that's going to look for a digit. We can do the quantifier of plus to more than one digit. We could then do a /, which is just literal for that element within the date. We could do \d plus again for the month. And then we could do / for the literal element separating the month and the year. And then we could do \d plus, find the digits after that second /. So if we close our double quotes, and then if we close our parenthesis, we press enter, we've got true. And if we just wanted to illustrate the results of what that's actually finding, switch this to a REGEXTEXTRACT, press enter, and you can see that's found the 1st of the 12th, 2025, and it's told us true, we've got a date within that cell. So a great little way to check if you've got dates. The final of the 3 regex functions we're going to look at is REGEXREPLACE. I'm just going to press down to that, press tab. Now you can see it's asking us for a text string again, which we're going to look at this, our pattern, and then what we want to replace it with. So the pattern we're going to look for, within this text string here, you can see I've put lots of spaces in between the words too many spaces. And what I want to do is just clean that up so that we've only got a single space between the wording. So we're going to do double quotes, and our pattern, we're going to look for space. And then if you remember, plus is our quantifier for one or more. Then we're going to do double quotes to close that. We're going to move out of our pattern recognition argument, and we're going to go into our replacement argument, and we're going to replace one or more spaces with just a single space, denoted by the double quotes. The occurrence is optional, and so is the case sensitivity, so we're not going to use those for this. We're going to close our parenthesis, and there you can see we've cleaned up anywhere where there's more than one space, and we've replaced it with a single space using REGEXREPLACE. Just to look at a second example of how we could use that. So if we wanted to censor the start of an email, so in this particular text string we've got example@email.com. What if we wanted to blank out the example bit so that the full email string wasn't disclosed? We could use regex, replace our text is that string. Our pattern, we're going to use \w, which if you remember was how we identified characters earlier. We're going to use the plus quantifier for more than one, and we're going to include the @ symbol. So one or more characters before @, which is going to pull out example. And then we're going to close our double quotes. We're going to go to the replacement element, and we're going to say we just want to replace that with some asterisks to look as if it's been censored out. Close our double quotes on that. We're not going to do any of these optional arguments, so close our parenthesis. And then we've got the example @ part of the email censored out. So let's recap. REGEXTEXTRACT pulls patterns like emails, hashtags, and numbers. REGEXTEST checks if something matches, great for validation. And REGEXREPLACE cleans and transforms text, like fixing spaces or anonymizing data. There's loads more you can do with regex. This is just brushing the surface as an introduction video. Let me know in the comments what real-world examples you find difficult extracting or working with text strings. And be sure to join me on the next regex video where I'll dig deeper into this function. Remember to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.